Hope.
Good morning, Higher Hope. This is Tuesday, May 12th. And I asked Jayla what I should talk about this morning. She said I should talk about the question, how are you doing? So I wanted to ask her, how are you doing?
Good.
Oh, good. Um, as we're talking about that question, that's the question we intro a lot of times when we're meeting with somebody. We enter into we see someone at the store when we see them, or maybe on the phone, or how are you doing? That's the question. We learn that's the first one of the first phrases we learn in Spanish. How are you doing? French. This is the question really in a lot of places that we ask. And I don't know if you heard how she answered it. This is how we all answer it. So it's our default mode. I say this, and everyone says this, is how are you doing? And we all answer the question, good. We're good. And sometimes maybe we are, but that's still a nondescript. So like it's almost a go-to answer that doesn't really share anything of importance about us. And part of relationship, part of doing life together, part of being the church for us or being a family is knowing and being known. I mean, that's what the Bible says. In fact, when Adam and Eve started having kids, the Bible, Moses would say Adam knew his wife. That there's this knowledge of each other, and even in John it says that this is eternal life, that you may know God and His Son Jesus Christ. And I don't think that's on the good level of hey, I'm good. And I think we were designed to go deeper with people. And I'm not saying we need to go, whenever that question's asked, we need to go really deep and share everything that's going on in our life. Sometimes we need to be able to build trust, and we need to know that that's the right situation and time. But what we do is we do cover and we do hide, and that's not really the way we were designed to be in relationship. And so sometimes we'll do one or two things. We will hide, or sometimes we will. Some people overshare and don't share the right things at the right time. And so maybe it's Facebook that they kind of they answer that question, how are we doing, in a way that may is not a way for that intimacy and connection to be formed necessarily. They want people to kind of know them at that level, and it's not always the best place to be known that way. I think it's in these small groups of three, four, one on one. So when you're asked how are you doing, maybe you need to we need to be able to answer that question or ask that question a little better, because at the center of relationship is that question really. So in marriage, I need to know my wife and know how she's doing, and she needs to know me. Not always by what we say, even though it's part of it, is be able to share. Um, and you ever even look at that question of how are you doing, and you're like, I don't even know how I'm doing. I don't even know how to explain what I'm feeling. I don't want to be. This is me, all right. I don't want to get people's sympathy or that, but it's hard sometimes to share that how are you really doing as a parent or as a friend or in a relationship, and to be able to manage that tension of when and how to share, and how to lead other people to share. And this is going back to humility. It's not always about what we feel. Sometimes we need to lean into how other people be watching. This is the other centeredness that we talked about yesterday in humility, of seeing how they're feeling and be able to lean in that direction. To know what's going on in their life, and be like, hey, I think I know that you're feeling this. Is that right? Because that question is at the center of the relationship. If we don't know how each other are feeling, how can we have a really deep relationship? And so we need to enter into that authentic, kind of open ourselves up to what our relationships can be underneath the leadership of God, by asking the question, how are we doing? And to be able to find people that we can honestly answer that with, and just share exactly where we are. So how are you doing this morning? And find someone not that you can share how you're doing with it. I hope that's true too. But find people that you can listen to and kind of lean into and say, hey, how are you really doing? And that's a great question to go deeper in relationships with people, is how are you, no, don't tell me good. How are you really doing?